Okay, here we go with the next game. We're going to do a Realms Unraveled and a Dawn of Champions mix against GP with the Hive Mind again. Here is our starting board. We are Neri, and he is Dartha. I am envious. Dartha's good, but Neri is able to deal with him, potentially. This is not a terrible matchup. We could have been Void. I said it. You heard me. Okay, now we're ready to begin this game properly. We've looked at our options already. Okay, our discussion was essentially this is the most important card on the board right now. Both of us want it. Since he's enlightened, he really wants it even more than we do. This is a nice, wonderful card. It has a great mid-game once you have more Mechana heroes in your deck, but it's not a first-round pick. This has one of the things going for it that makes it the best pick in the beginning of the game with a rally when you acquire. Anything with a rally when you acquire, if you get a good card or even a moderate card out of that rally, you're going to be way ahead of your opponent since it costs you nothing and it's still early. The Wild Gear Sower is the one that makes the most sense for our faction since we're the Lifebound champion. But we're going to leave it there and not try to make decisions based on the late game rally, but towards the early game rally and take this overhaul cleric. The prototype's nice. We'll try to get that later. The Genesis capsule is perfect for us. We really want that. But if we take this overhaul cleric and see what happens, we manage to get rally off of it. Not a great rally, but we're that much closer to having two constructs to make this overhaul a good card in the middle of the game. Now, what we leave GP with as options, he can deny us our Lifebound faction point, or he can take this. Either way, we're going to be happy, because if we have a card that we need two constructs to gain 3 runes out of, and another card that powers up off of that same one if we get them in the same turn, or other heroes if we get more Mechana heroes, we're just going to have a really great mid-game. We're perfectly happy with that. Okay, his turn. Okay, and here we go to see what he did. He bought the Matron of Discovery and killed a cultist, so that's pretty much our worst case scenario. There's really no need to discuss, so I'm just going to go ahead and take this turn. We're going to take the Wild Gear. We've already discussed this. It's no big surprise. And pass the turn back to him. Okay, so that turn went by really fast. He spent all 5 on the Cannon Templar and is hoping that he'll be able to pick up the Daybreak before we can. Let's check what our options are. His choice was a gamble. It's actually a gamble I would have considered very strongly in his case, although it's rather questionable. Almost everyone would instantly go for the card they know they want, but he was about to shuffle, and either we were going to get the cannon, which was going to fit well with our Mechana deck, our repair bot, all of that, or he could add it to his, and he has that Matron from last time that it'll pair with. It has great killing potential for later in the round, so he can focus all of his deck on buying and be able to slaughter things just by having a big construct. It just lets us have the potential of getting the Daybreak before him, unless we draw poorly and he draws well. Well, we did draw sort of poorly, and he can always go for one of these libraries even if we get the Daybreak gone. He'll have a good chance of getting a strong construct and a cannon. I completely understand and sympathize with his choice. It was a hard one to make, though. Okay. We have decided to deny him the Guide of Lost Souls and get the poor man's Dartha, since it does almost the same effect as his faction hero. Not really any surprises there, and pass turn, nothing else we can do. Okay, time to see whether he drew the 5 or we're going to town on this game. Okay, here we go. Let's see what we've got. He was able to get to the library familiar. which leaves us everything we need for the Daybreak or the Genesis. This might be a bit of a debate, and even the Seer could be better, but the Daybreak is awesome. It's really hard to argue with that. So, passing this to the team. Okay, here we go. This was some tough options. If we were to go with the capsule, we would get another point towards our Lifebound champion, and then we could spend the extra 2 on the Lifebound champion third point to get our hero. And then with the hero and the capsule, we could always put a Lifebound on top of our deck, draw it, get the Unite, get an extra bonus point and an extra card for free if we could afford a Lifebound out on the center at any point after that. It would also power up our wild gear for 2 factions with the points every time we play it, and give us our second construct needed for the overhaul cleric to be worth 3. So that Genesis capsule is a very powerful card. The Seer has a Rally Enlightened, and you could get something spectacular out of that. But we've been talking since the beginning of the game that Daybreak is awesome. He's got a cannon in his deck. We don't want him to double copy that. There's just so many things you can do with the Daybreak. We want to take it away from him, use it for ourselves. We had discussed what to do here with probably buying a faction point. But we like direct points. We like Lifebound heroes. We're going to be buying more Lifebound. It's a no-brainer on taking the click even without talking to people. So we were going to do the faction point anyway. And pass turn. Okay, that was good. Okay, time to find out what he did on his turn. He bought the Scryer. Now for our turn, we can go ahead and drop some things down, since there's nothing that's going to change this or our banishes. So that's what we've got, and we have a militia left over in hand. Okay, and passing turn. Or rather, going to the Discord channel to let them tell me what to do before I take the turn. Okay, this was quite a lot of discussion to figure out what we wanted to do here. If we take the Secluded Lab, we could put it straight on top of our deck, because the Overhaul Cleric is coming, and it'll be worth 3 buying power, then pretty much guaranteeing us the Genesis capsule in that hand, if we get it. If we take the Seer of the Days Past, we have a chance to rally some other better Enlightened. If we leave it, we leave him a faction point, potentially 2 with an Enlightened Rally. It's also worth 3 points at the end of the game, but more importantly for us, the Daybreak, we can copy it, not just once but twice, and get 3 draws out of 2 cards, or later in the game, 6 draws out of 2 cards, which would be huge for us. We'd really like that. The Lab could potentially be transformed by the Cleric and the Sower together, so we do have 2 Mechanas. Also, he has a Cannon Templar in his deck, so we could try to play defensively, but there's no point playing defensively on the Cannon because he's got the Library Familiar. He's got a bigger one. Sure, the Secluded Lab, after the Library is already down, will just replace the card for him, but the Genesis Capsule's basically the same thing for him if he can afford it. We don't think he can afford both, so we're going to take the Seer and no rally, but we can pass turn and let him have a go. Okay, let's see what he did in this game. Bought the Secluded Laboratory, sort of thought that might happen. Well, we have the option of Snapdragon or Genesis. Given his deck, I'm pretty certain we're going to go with Genesis. Let's turn it over to our friends in the Discord channel. Okay, we're back to advance the game after what we're talking about. The Snapdragon's a pretty great card, help us draw, help us use our Nari, but we all agreed the Genesis Capsule is great. Now, we know what's left in our deck by looking at our discard and looking at our cards in play and what's in our deck. And the cards we have left undrawn are 3 Apprentices, the Daybreak Ashkara, the Guide of Lost Souls, and then Everbloom Click hasn't come out yet either. We're hoping the click is the last card, but it's could be anything on the bottom, probably an apprentice. If we get the guide and daybreak in the same turn, we can have a lot of ability to change our next hand. So we are not going to use the gnome repair bot to stick this on top of our deck yet. We will probably do this next turn once we're done having our power turn. So here goes something. We did not get the Guide of Lost Souls, so we can't copy that. But we can copy the click to get 2 points off the click on its own, and then 3 points off of the copy version of it. We're probably going to do that unless that Seer of Days Past that just flipped stays in the center. We'll only know once GP takes his turn. Okay, here we go. Let's see what he did. He drew a card off the library, got rid of a militia, and now has taken our Snapdragon from us, which leaves us a lot of options. Oh man, so many options of what we can do. We can take the Root Scryer, which is a great card, works with our Everbloom, works with our Daybreak, works with our Genesis Capsule very well because we can put something on our deck that we know is lifebound and then draw it for 3 points guaranteed. We can duplicate an apprentice to get the Seer of Days Past, potentially get a life enlightened rally off of it, and have more things for our Daybreak to work off of. This is a tough choice. I think I'm going to recommend the Seer of Days Past because I don't want GP to have it. I love the Rally Enlightened. You can do so much in the game when you get lucky with an effect like that. We're starting to approach the mid-game with round 7. This honor pool is going to start actually going away. He didn't draw his cannon yet, but he's only got 5 cards left in deck, so he has a cannon. He can... Did I say 5 cards left in deck? He's only got 5 cards left in hand, and all the rest of his stuff has been shuffled, so he has the cannon. He's probably not going to take the Wailing Spectre, actually, since he has no discard pile. We'll probably take that rejected prototype and get cheaper construct. I feel like the team is going to tell me to do Root Scryer. I feel like I'm going to try to push Seer of Days Past. We'll see what actually comes of it later. Okay, here we are with taking our options. We had several options available with a turn like this, especially with the Daybreak in play. One of our big options was to copy an apprentice and take the Seer of Days Past, potentially get a huge Rally Enlighten, have another Seer for us to Daybreak later, especially for huge interns with 2 off of the Seer and then 4 more off of the Daybreak to be able to get 6 draws from 2 cards. We could do a lot with that in the end game. That was a potential huge play, but it's aiming for the end game. We actually have an opportunity right now, given what GP has been going for with Library, Familiar, and the Cannon Templar in his hand, to try to get the game rushed down instead. So we've decided we're going to take the Root Scryer, and the Root Scryer has a nice effect with us when we combine it with the Genesis Capsule, that we can just put something straight on top of our deck and then draw it for the bonus points knowing it's lifebound. Then, since we're going to be rushing the game end, we're going to copy the Everbloom, get an extra 3 points off of that. He did buy the Snapdragon Witch earlier and has now card draw effects based on being in the lead. So we want to have him not be in the lead. He's going to gain at least 3 or 4 points with his Cannon Templar this turn. Nothing we can do with this apprentice, but we are now going to stack the deck with the Genesis Capsule. So we have that in play and ready to use when we draw the Root Scryer and potentially be able to set that combo off. With what I'm looking at in hand here for next turn, the Seer of Days Past is still an option for us when we get to our turn. Other than the Seer, nothing on the deck is available for us because the Genesis Capsule is not a valid target for us to banish to get a Snapdragon or anything. Just, we're not going to go that route, no. Okay, we'll see what he does and then come back for the next round. Okay, let's see what GP did with his turn. He drew some stuff. What did he discard? He discarded the cannon and it came back. He got both his mechan in the same turn. Picked up. He managed to transform the 0-point reactor. So he got Remus and Flytrap and Flytrap Staff all in the same turn. Now we have the opportunity to put either the Ogo or the Deathbound Druid on top of our deck. The Druid is awesome, but if we put Ogo on top of our deck, any of our future purchases will get a rally, and it'll be our specific type of rally, so that's probably what our team's going to want to go with. We'll see. Okay, here we go, finally taking this turn. We spent quite a lot of time talking about what to do here, which is perfectly acceptable. We have decided to put the Ogo on top of our deck. One of the main things that sort of swayed us on it is if it were GP's turn, the Ogo has a rally for Lifebound that can not only get rid of some stuff in the center later, help him buy things, but potentially deprive us of the cards we're looking for. So we think he would have bought Ogo on his turn if he had the chance. So no go for him, Ogo for us. The Seer is hard to pass up, but we're going to leave it there for a little bit longer. Pass turn. Okay, we'll see what he does. Okay, here we go. See what he did with his turn. He bought the Seer. Did not get a Unite. Bought our Everbloom away from us. So we're going to just drop our cards, see what we have to work with in our options, and send this back to the team. Okay, here we are going back in to take the turn we've all agreed upon. No real surprises here. We're trying to rush down the honor pool before GP can take off. We've got some good stuff in our deck as well. Okay, Clockwork Sentinel. I'm assuming we want that over a heavy infantry, but maybe we want a faction point. So I will offer it up so everyone can debate about, do we want our 7th faction point? So the next time an Ogo or something else goes off and gets us a Lifebound, that will start our rally spree. Or we can take this Clockwork. We do have 2 monsters, so it's a pretty good card. I bet we're going to take it. We'll see. Okay, here we go. Buying this one last thing to end this turn, and now we'll see what he does. Okay, time to see what we've got here. Okay, he's not able to draw twice at least off the Snapdragon. So he bought a Shadowstalker and a Druid's Wreath. We can, given our current deck layout, we've only got 1 power card. So we can get rid of this Militia. We're not going super heavy that route. The Root Scryer, we can potentially put something on top of our deck. But something would have to be Lifebound. The Seer we could save and potentially use double draw, but we have to get 2 more Lifebound points. We can't do that. So we might as well pop that one. If I drop Neri, that'll let us see a couple more draws. So if I look at this, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 possible 2-point cards or 3-point cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's 1 left in that deck over there. I'm kind of curious which one it is. I think it's our doubler, actually. Our Daybreak is still in there. Was there any way for us to put a Lifebound on top of our deck? The Wild Gear Sower. Is there any way for us to put more Mechan or Construct or a different type of thing on top? No, there's no way for us to do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on top of 0. So no, there's nothing we can do there. Time to just use it and see. Pretty sure we're going to take that cannon. We'll find. Okay, we had a pretty unanimous decision for what to do here. To take this cannon Templar, both to keep it away from him and to use it ourselves. All kinds of good stuff here. Now it's his turn. We'll see what GP does. Okay, and here we go. Well, he was able to get the cannon discard, so he didn't have to lose anything with the scryer. He upgraded Remus with the cannon kill. Upgraded some more stuff, got himself another nice hero and monster. It was a pretty good turn for him. He killed the Spectre, the Giant, and the Deathfinder. He acquired a Mystic, Surge Protector, and managed to banish 3 of his cards in the process, 4 of his cards in the process. So that's pretty good. Well, let's see what we've got then. On our options, I've got the Courier, the Everbloom. There's no point in holding this until the end, and now we'll toss the options up to the group and discuss them. We could buy the Death Dealer, then double up on the Ogo to buy the Spike Vixen and get 2 attempts at Lifebound rallies, or we can double the Click for another 1, 2, 3, 4 points. I'm thinking like we're trying to rush this honor pool before he takes off. Might be that way. Okay, here we go. So we've decided first of all to take the Death Dealer and hopefully get a Lifebound rally off it. No luck there. There's nothing we can do to acquire that Seer of Days Past. I bet you GP takes the Seer and the Mantra. And if he's lucky with his rally on the Seer, he might even be able to get to a 8 faction favor and get a big rally going. What we're going to do is we've counted all the discards that he has to see what's left in his deck. And we know that he has a Snapdragon Witch, a Flytrap Staff, 3 Apprentices, and 1 Militia. Chances are great that he has the Witch in his hand. And if he plays it as is with us with 19 points, him with 19, it would give him 1, then let him draw 2 cards. So he would have to shuffle his discard, draw the 1 left, and then draw from these. That would give him all of his best cards with 1 Apprentice and 2 Mystics as the worst cards in that set, including several of these big Lifebound combos, the Cannon, lots and lots of draw cards between the Seer and the Seer and whatnot. So, and he'd be able to easily transform the Druid's Wreath with those cards. We don't want him to have those. If instead we keep him from being able to draw 2 cards, all 6 of these other cards will go back into his discard along with those 14, and then he'll have 3 more Apprentices, a Militia, and a Snapdragon Witch. The Snapdragon Witch isn't great, but we need to keep it from letting him draw 2. The only way for us to do that is to double the Everbloom, which was already a good plan, give us 4 points. My initial thought actually that I started to talk about before we counted the discard was to double the Ogo and go for the Spike Vixen and have another shot at a Lifebound rally. That'd be great and all. We were trying to like bridge the 11-point gap between where he was and where we were by hoping for a good rally or setting up some rally combos. The problem is we just can't let him go crazy with shuffling his deck and then having great turns back to back. We got to thin it out a little so we have a chance to compete. And that's the turn. Let's see what he does. Okay, here we go. Let's see what he did. He grabbed exactly the things we thought he would, along with the Gargoyle. Where'd that extra... Oh, because he got the draw, right? So we had a Mystic in there, and 3 Apprentices, instead of a Militia. So I need to update my count a little. Now let's see what we're going to do. There's no point in holding the Wild Gear. So there's also no point in holding the sentry. We can kill this charger right now and put something on top of our deck, like the Ogo or the Daybreak. And things coming up include the Wild Queen and Overhaul Cleric. We could have some really good things with the copy. Are there any enlightened to copy? The Guide is out there, the Root Scryer. The Seer of Days Past has not been drawn yet and is very close to being upgraded, so that might be my recommendation, is to get the Daybreak and hope for a Seer. Okay, back and ready to take part of our turn. We've discussed whether or not to use the cannon or the power on the Thorn Charger and which card to put on top of our deck. We've decided pretty unanimously that the Daybreak will be a really great card to put back on our deck, because we have the Wild Queen we can potentially copy for 2 points and 2 cards. We have the Root Scryer we can potentially copy after putting something on our deck with Genesis Capsule. So we get at least 3 points and 2 cards, possibly 6 points if we're fortunate. If we get the Seer and we manage to get our last 2 points, or last 1 point after the Thorn Charger, then we'll be able to get 6 draws out of that with the Daybreak. As far as the power versus the cannon, we've elected to use the cannon so we can kill 2 cultists with the power. This means that if one of the 6 remaining 5-cost monsters that are not already in the discard pile that exist in these 155 cards pops out, we're going to be a tiny bit sad. But chances are pretty good that it's not going to be that. Mind you, our 7 buying power, we had talked about using some of it on the Disciple first for more options, and decided not to because there are also 6 cards that could be really great 7-costers. We'll see what happens. Definitely not a 7-coster. Let's put the Daybreak on top of deck. Now, as far as what to buy here, it's all about the points right now. The honor to cost ratio, direct honor gain from monsters, anything we can rally. So the Shades Bargain and the Disciple give us the best honor for buying power ratio, although the Journeyman and Ozias are 2 things we could both buy and keep him from having access to his Enlightened Rally. So we're going to discuss that before I make any unilateral decisions. I do know Sonny wanted us to take the Disciple, and I'm right there with him. I think we should take the Disciple, the Shades Bargain, see what our options are. If nothing exceptional is flipped, perhaps take one of the Enlightened cards so he just can't set off multiple attempts at rallying and only gets 1. We'll see. And here's the picture, and I will be back with our next decision later. Okay, so my hotkey for recording didn't quite work. What I've been talking about, well, you weren't able to see me making my moves and walking it through. We had the debate pretty heavily between Ozia and Journeyman to deprive him of Enlightened Rally opportunities since he's at 7 faction points. But if there are Enlightened that would have come as a successful rally, it means that he could just buy the Disciple and Shade that used to be in the center a second ago and be all good. What we've done instead here is we've taken the Shade and the Disciple for the highest ratio of points we can get, hoping that we can set off our own Lifebound Rally. I'm pretty sure we're going to be forced to take the Pack Leader, because if we leave a Rally Enlightened for him, he has to deprive us of it. It could go off for him. If we take the Secluded Lab, it's the biggest points. I feel like if this were just me playing this game and I hadn't been counting really carefully, I'd go for the Secluded Laboratory. It's safe. He's going to get it. If we don't, so we might as well take the 4 for 4. Like, taking this, sure, we get the 1 point, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to put it up to the group. This is a tough decision. I really feel like the Secluded, just because of how much he can gain from it, if we don't gain from it, gives us a bigger swing in his favor while he's already ahead. The Pack Leader setting off an infinite Lifebound Rally might be our only hope, though. So we're going to put it up to the group and see whether they want to trust to hope or if they want to try to stay in this game for 1 more turn. Here we go. Okay, this has been our hardest decision ever and our closest vote. We've had a lot of discussion. I think we spent almost like 2 days trying to figure out what to do with this turn. And basically what we've come up with is our cards coming up have several good ones, but we also have 5 apprentices and stuff like that. We do have a Seer of Days Path, and for sure we have a Daybreak Ashkar on our deck. There's a possibility that we can milk a really good turn, but it's going to be hard. Normally I would immediately go for the Secluded Lab and secure myself 4 points for 4 buying, deprive him of doing the same. Compared to the pack leader and possibly just a heavy infantry, it's going to give me a nice swing in points. But I know how far behind we are. And right now, as of this moment, I think we are, where did I put it? I wrote it in here somewhere. We're down by enough points that we're only going to be able to catch up to him by grabbing the Secluded Lab, but be down an entire turn. And his deck is really good. He just shuffled it all. It's going to be hard to make up a difference of an entire turn's worth of points. We're still going to be losing this turn no matter what. Unless we go for the rally. Now, putting this on top of our deck, I don't think I asked about that very much. I'm going to executively decide not to, because the buying power is not what we need. The points and the combo power are what we need. And our only thing that would unite off of it's already over here. So we're just going to take it straight like this and hope we get a successful rally. That was not a successful rally. And now I have to put a picture back to the group and make more decisions before going on. Okay, here goes something. Okay, we have had good agreement on this one. My suggestion was to take the spike, see if anything better flips, and then banish based on that. Now we get a debate, because the Secluded Lab is awesome, but if he can manage to afford that upgrade foundry with his deck, that's more awesome. So, trying to put that up to the group to see which one they think will happen. Okay, here we go, finishing up this turn. Everyone unanimously said get rid of the upgrade foundry except for me, which is perfectly acceptable. And there we go, passing turn. Finally. Okay, let's see what he did. This is going to be a really important turn for us. Okay, so he took the lab like we thought. He took a Root Scryer and a Journeyman, and neither one of them set off a rally. So we have a shot. We have some options with what's on the table too. We definitely have a shot. Let's see what everyone wants us to do first. I see immediately what I would do. We'll see what everyone else does. I'm actually, before I send them this picture, we're going to play the Wild Queen. There's nothing to do with saving points that won't matter. We have more draws available. There we go. And stopping. Actually, is there any reason to stop the draw? Yes, there is. Okay, stopping. Okay, here we go with our final turn. We're going to have to make it a good one. So, we are going to use the Seer of Days Past to draw 2 cards. We were hoping to draw the Root Scryer here, but that's okay, because we're just going to Daybreak the Seer of Days Past, giving us everything we need to work with. We are going to acquire the Wild Gear Druid and put it on top of the deck. Unsuccessful rally, but we can now Root Scryer that and draw it. I should have banished from the discard before doing that. I didn't think about the Nari Unite. That's my bad, but that's okay. We have a lot to work with here. So I am quite confident of some of our purchases. Let's see how much we have to work with. Is there any reason to delay? We get the bonus. That's the whole turn. There's no real reason to delay. I'll do this. And then we already talked about Disciple of Imri, so I'll take that one. Does he have anything? He has a workshop, so the Nightmare's worth a bonus point to him. We don't have enough to kill that. We do have enough for the Initiates and the Undaunted. The Undaunted has the highest point ratio, which is our goal, and it has a rally, so here goes rally. We acquired a rally. Good. Disciple, no rally success there. There's really no point in taking this to the group. We've already discussed things enough. So we are going to take the Initiate Gauntlet, and that is going to be the end of our day. Nothing else I can do. Okay, so all in all in that turn, we gained 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 11, 12, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 3, 22, and 3, 24. Okay, our final score, assuming I didn't count this wrong and I just did this off the top of my head, would be 88. That's good. He has to gain 11 points to beat us. It's going to be a close game. Good game either way, GP. Okay, let's find out what happened in his final turn. Here goes a lot of bad stuff. I'm sure he's going to just pull... Oh, nope, I can see it going badly. Oh, he gets the Terrorizing Fiend, draw a few more, he's upgrading, he's still able to kill anything he wants. He should have killed the Sage. Why didn't he kill the oh, and then he sets off the Enlightened combo, and yeah, this is not going to go our way. He gained a few hundred points in that turn. Okay. Yep. Good game, guys. It was fun. It was very fun. But I think we might have lost.